Welcome to the Your Town television program. I'm your host, Gerald Vinci, author and owner of Vinci Digital Marketing. I have the great privilege of sitting down with some of the greatest minds along the Monterey Peninsula. Today, I'll be speaking with three professional development experts who deliver transformational change and empowerment in our personal lives, our careers, and our businesses. So my first guest today is a very good friend of mine, Julie Foucht. She's a women's business coach, and the name of her business is The Art of Feminine Marketing. So I'd like to welcome Julie to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I'm super excited.
Yeah, I wanted to have you on first because the name of your business always piques a lot of interest, and so I guess we can just start. You can just tell me a little bit more about your business and about yourself.
Yeah, I'd love to. So that name was actually given to me, and I always hated hearing, "Oh, I got this download," right? It's just like, ooh. And a couple of years ago, I had a business that was really rocking. I called it Kick-Ass Biz Coaching, and it was really, all the things you needed to do to be a successful business owner. And I was working 10 to 12 hours a day, and it was great, and I loved it. And I had a car accident and hurt my back, and I couldn't do those hours. And as I was in the process of recovering and really looking at, hey, how do I want to evolve my business from here? It was as if a voice kept whispering to me, there's a different way, there's a different way. Sure. And it really is a softer, gentler way that is more fulfilling to women and the feminine soul. And the art of feminine marketing just kind of rolled out of that. And this whole idea that as women, we need to do business differently than how men do it. And actually, as I'm looking at what's happening in the world, and I'm looking at what's going on in business, there's a lot of feminine marketing that actually is being applied by men very successfully as well. So it was quite a journey to, as anybody who's been in business knows, to go through kind of this rebrand and rebirth and re-niching of a business that had been successful for 10 years.
Right. Yeah, the first time I heard it too, it was very interesting. So what is feminine marketing?
So essentially, feminine marketing is a different way of doing business. In the old model of marketing, it was pretty much find a need, design a solution, design a marketing strategy, and then you just get on the train and you hammer it and you go. And feminine marketing allows things to develop a little more. So in feminine marketing, we spend a lot more time connecting with our feminine essence. For women, for men, connecting with the feminine energy within them, because we have both. Sure. And for me, that includes meditation time, taking time during the day to stop and just dance and get in your body. It's much more allowing the soul to speak into the business rather than going out in the world and bringing a need in. It's what's your soul speaking? What is your soul wanting to birth in the world? And then connecting on that spiritual level first. I do my marketing that way. I connect on a spiritual level first. Sure. Before I start my marketing, and I let my feminine guide what my marketing strategies are going to be. As an example of that, I was meditating the other day, and I was saying to my business, well, how do you want me? I've got an event coming up, and I said, how do you want me to market the event? So instead of going to a formula and saying, here's how you market an event, you do 18 emails, and here's the formula. I said, how do you want it? How do you want it, business? And I know this sounds a little weird, but my business said, oh, we need to see your eyes. And then I got an email from you saying, want to be on my TV show?
Perfect timing.
And I was like, yes. And so that kind of almost magic stuff starts to happen when you're marketing from your feminine versus marketing from a formula or a strategy. Now, the formulas, the strategies, they make sense and you need to adapt them, but you need to do it in a way that really feeds your soul, because there are literally millions of ways you can market.
Right. My wife always says that too, that you have to manifest things for them to become reality rather than there being a process and a system to everything. You know, and that's being a male in marketing. That's definitely the way I've been taught too, that there's, you know, steps A, B, C, and D to get the results you want. And that's not always the case. So
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Exactly. And I also think that when you're going the A, B, C, D, you don't leave room for the doors that could open,
Yeah.
that you don't know are going to open.
Right. Yeah, you've almost got your blinders on the whole way
Yeah.
through. Yeah, that makes sense. So do men seem as open to the approach as women?
That's been really an interesting process for me because I coach business women. And I have done work with men in the past. I currently don't have any male clients. So as this has developed, I've really been playing with it with women and teaching it to women and watching their businesses really skyrocket. And so when I'm in a group, like you and I belong to a couple of groups, and so the men have been like, don't forget us. And I think that it's really about languaging because we all have masculine and feminine in us. And men have different energy. Men are hunters. And so they're going to approach it differently, but they can still use some of the techniques and practices to elevate their business and their marketing. And I think it's helpful for men to understand it from the viewpoint of how women are different. You know, historically, up until 150 years ago, women couldn't own property.
Sure.
Like, our role was to be nice and pleasant and make a good wife and make babies. That was women's whole value. And so we've really had to come at being business owners a little differently. And we have different things that hold us back than men do. We have different challenges than men do. And so it's a different kind of thing to be a business owner as a woman. And I think for men who work with women, it's really important that they understand that. Our energy flows differently. Our priorities are different, not better. Women are more about connectivity.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we were the ones who stayed at the campground and watched the children together while we dug up roots and cooked. You know, that was women's biological roles. And some of that is handed down generationally, handed down in our biology. And so it's helpful for men to understand that as they work with women and to bring the marriage of the two different types of energy together. You know, the masculine, very action-oriented, masculine energy impacts feminine energy influences. Mm-hmm. So how do we bring those together, both in our business relationships, in our own lives, in our own way of doing business, and then it expands into our relationships, our friendships, all of that.
Right. Now, would you go about, if you were working with men in this business, would you also go about it a similar way or a different way? How would you approach it?
Yeah, I would approach it, well, there's some pieces that I would do with men exactly the same way. I do some work around wounding experiences, which a lot of people think their wounding experiences are something they need to either get over or get healed so they can move on. And in my work, your wound is your greatest gift. And so that I would do exactly the same way with men. I would go into those wounding experiences, deliver out the gifts, which those gifts are really the keys to marketing to your divine right tribe. And then I would look at how do we apply that to your marketing. Now that I would do differently because men have different energy and they're going to be able to approach things in a different way than women, but it's all individual anyway. So, you know, some guys are going to have more of the feminine and they're going to approach it more that way. And everything I do when I design a marketing plan for somebody, with somebody, not going to do it for you, with somebody, we look at what really works for them, what's the balance for them, and what's the balance of their masculine and feminine, and how much of each do we need to add in. Sometimes I've had masculine clients who are like, I don't want to go inside again, right? So that's part of the growth of really growing
Right.
as a human being. We always want to have that dance and become more balanced all the way through.
Okay. But how did you get started in the industry?
I went through a really horrific divorce years and years and years ago, 15, 20 years ago. Oh, I'm old. A long time ago. And got invited to a personal development workshop afterwards and was just like fell in love with the whole industry. And went through a series of classes, was invited to join a startup company that did goal achievement around personal development. Had a lot of fun there, and then it just fell into the training, discovered the Coaches Training Institute. My first week in there, I knew I had discovered my life's work.
Right.
I was just like...
Your aha moment.
It was like, oh, yes. I looked at one of the instructors and I said, aren't people fascinating? She went, you're in the right place.
Cool. What was the one thing holding you back, you think, from starting the business?
Oh, it was fear. I had a job, and I loved my boss. I loved the clients, and I was really afraid to leave that security, that safety net. And yet there was something that in me that said, this is not what you're here to do. This is not what you're here on the planet to do. This is not the work you're meant to do. And it was comfortable, and it was safe, and it was just really painful, and it took a long time for me to have the courage to say I'm going to walk away in a terrible recession, because I walked away right at the height of the recession.
Sure.
To give up that secure income and that comfortable place. And I think that's always the place as entrepreneurs, is we're always, no matter where we are in our business. I've been doing this for, I don't know, 12, 13, 14 years now. There's always that place of stretching out of our comfort zone. It's always, if we're not being called out of our comfort zone, then we're going to be dying. I mean, we're either growing or dying. So that leaving the job was actually the first step of getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. Wow.
Yeah. So fast forwarding today, what's something that's working for you right now?
Yeah, there's a couple of things.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, I've always found networking to be really a great way for me to create relationships and find clients. But I don't walk into a networking event going, with my shark tail up, going, where are the clients? Where are the clients? Right. I go in to create relationships and walk away with new connections and then see where those connections go. That's working really well. I think the other thing that is working really big time, though, is being completely honest, open, and vulnerable in all of my marketing that I do. My social media, my emails that I send out, anything that I put out there has a real level of vulnerability, to the point where sometimes it's like, I don't know if I want to push that button. But what that does is it creates rapport with the people who are meant to be my clients, who are going to connect with me anyway. Mm-hmm. Turns off the people that I don't want to work with.
Right.
Because you get into a coaching relationship with me, that stuff's going to be there. I'm going to be really real with you. I'm going to push your buttons. I'm going to support you in a dream that's bigger than your dream. And if you're not ready to hear that, then that's okay. And so when I'm putting it out there on social media, and I know some people are like, oh, is it too much? Well, too much would be, I don't know, what happened in the bathroom this morning, and don't put that out there. But, I'm going to be pretty open about the rest of it. And that creates connection. And that's like the biggest tip I give my clients is you've got to have that heart connection. People buy from the heart. They don't buy because of your rates.
Yeah, when you've got your business at a place where you love it and it's truly who you are, as a person too, you just feel so much more comfortable in your own skin. And everybody, whether they see you online or see you in person, they know they're getting the same Julie either way, which is really nice.
Yeah, and that's really an important part of branding and being a personality brand.
Absolutely. What's the best business advice you ever received?
Oh man, the best business advice I ever received. There's so much. Make your business a reflection of your connection to the divine. And so every day when you talk to your business, it's as if you're talking to your connection to whatever your higher source is. That brings me a lot of joy being in that place. And then that joy reflects out into the world and attracts people.
That's a really nice thought. So tell me more about what you have going on right now, other than just what's working for you. I know you've got a pretty big event coming up. Right?
Yeah, I have a live event February 17th, 18th, and 19th.
Cool.
It's at the Paradox Hotel in Santa Cruz. And I love that because this feminine marketing is such a paradox of how we, how we dance in the feminine and then we dance in the masculine.
Sure.
Because if we stay only in the feminine, nothing ever gets done, right? We have to move into action sometimes. And in that, we're going to teach the art of feminine marketing to a small group. We're keeping it small on purpose. And we'll do that wounds work I talked about where we dig the gifts out of the wounds work. We're also going to do some flatline strategy. How do you design a social media plan? How do you design your blog posting plan? And do it from our feminine versus doing it from someone outside saying, here's how the model works.
Right.
And then I've got a full day devoted to money practices and how to create more money. And my goal is that everybody walk away and be able to double or triple their income in the next year from attending the event.
So who are the specific audiences that you're trying to get to attend?
I am looking for women who are coaches, teachers, trainers, and service providers.
Okay.
If you're a service provider, you are doing some kind of coaching or training. And you know that in your business, you know. You're not just designing websites in your business, but you're really teaching people about, what kind of a website is going to sell for them, and that influences their marketing.
Sure.
So those are the kind of people. I want women who are really open, who are looking for, that are really sick of trying to do it by formula and not getting anywhere following the guru formulas, and want to market from their soul and really discover the work they're meant to do here on the planet.
Yeah. That sounds great. Just tell us real quick where we can find you to learn more.
It's juliefoucht.com.
Right.
So super simple, and I think the spelling of my name is there. So it's
okay.
Foucht rhymes with couch with a T at the end.
Yeah, not Faust, like I said in the beginning.
Faust.
All right, well, thank you, Julie, for coming to the program today. You've been watching Your Town television program. I'm Gerald Vinci, your host, and tune into yourtown.tv.